Yeah.
Yeah, more cheers, more cheers.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of GBH Amplifies. I'm Tracy Chang, the chef owner of Pagu Restaurant in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And thank you. I'm so excited to welcome some really good friends we have here at the table today. We have David Lander, Jonny Zackman, and Natalia Durnieva. So welcome, welcome. And thank you, audience, for joining us. We have some treats on this table, so feel free to come up and taste some of this lovely pierogi. Yeah? Okay, so Natalia, please tell us about what we have here.
This is Ukrainian food. We call this пиріжки з вишнями. You guys used to call this piroshki. I heard from you this word. This is yeast dough. Inside you can find the cherries, and this is so good. I believe you will try it and you will love it.
And you baked these fresh this morning.
Yes,
Amazing.
as fresh as I can bring.
I've recently been trying to avoid gluten, but this is very worthwhile. I'm gonna have an upset tummy later.
I'm so happy you forgot about your gluten reduction for me.
Just for you, just for you.
So good.
Delicious.
Sour cherries inside. Well, not sour.
Not sour. No.
Sweet.
Sweet cherries.
Cherries inside. Very good.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you. So, Natalia, I met you through David originally, and this was, I don't know how long ago it was now, maybe over a year ago, 2 years ago?
Probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah. So, David, tell us about how you and Natalia met.
Yeah, I mean, we met when we were in the early days of kicking off the Refugee Food Festival, and we were connected with REOC, which is a refugee organization based in Boston, and we started to talk to them about could we find chefs and cooks in the area who were refugees who had been here for any number of time, for a couple months to 30 years. And on our first meeting, we met Natalia, and Natalia was going to be our connection to the Ukrainian community. And immediately she had unbelievable energy for this project and was super excited about connecting us with this person and this person and this person. And what started out as her connecting us with other chefs has turned into Natalia being a chef that we're deeply connected to and so excited to work with each time.
And your original vision for the Refugee Food Festival, I remember when you brought it up with me, but how did you get into kind of that line of work?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, my background is more in the peace building and conflict resolution field. And I, right when I graduated college, my first job actually was in Colombia, and I moved down to rural Colombia in Putumayo, and into a very small town. Nobody spoke English. I knew nobody. And I was working with people who had been displaced internally from the conflict in Colombia. And these were people who had lost their homes, lost their communities, lost the kind of the fabric of what they had had. And I moved there, and in my first week or two, the cleaning woman for their office was someone who had also been displaced. And she noticed that I didn't know anyone, that I didn't have much to do on the weekends, and was probably a little lonely. And she invited me to come back to her home to learn how to make sancocho, which is a traditional Colombian stew that's usually that people make on the weekends. And that Sunday, she sent her son to pick me up on his motorcycle, and he brought me back to their house on the outskirts of the town. And she taught me every step of making sancocho, sat me on the plastic chairs outside, and we hung out. And she taught me about Colombian culture, Colombian food, and Colombian hospitality. And to me, my imperfect Spanish at the time was completely okay because food was our language, and we connected over that. So years later, after spending time in other countries, I moved back to Cambridge and connected with Jonny and started to talk about this idea of how do we use food as a language to bring people together in the community, both from thinking about all the cultures that live here that aren't often talked about or engaged with, to having more dinner conversations around different tables. And so me and Jonny connected and started to think about this idea of a refugee food festival and a refugee supper club.
And I remember that first time that David and I spoke. We went to, I think it was Luxor Cafe. Darwin's had just closed over in Cambridge. And when you were kind of outlining the idea to me, I remember having the same sort of feeling that I had when I was a kid, when the community around me started a meal train for my family because my dad had a chronic neurological disorder. And I just remember feeling this safety and security in having people show up with dinner prepared at the door. And I could see the impact that it had. My mom being able to calm down a little bit, be able to kind of direct her attention to other areas because there was so much in flux. And so that same sort of feeling, you know, I started to see that we could actually provide that to other people as well in thinking about how we bring this festival to life, which was really inspiring, and it made me just want to say yes to everything. And having met Natalia then through REOC, really started to understand the type of people we were going to be working with as well. Natalia is one of those people who is a yes to everything person as well. And even if you have an idea where you say, we're going to bring 350 people together for a block party in Cambridge, you're like, okay, we'll make that happen. And so we started to see this congruency between all of the ways in which we think and want to approach community building, want to approach bringing people together, and that vehicle is really through food. And that's what's been so inspiring about this journey so far. And I remember we had this idea for the festival, and then we said, well, we don't just want one day to have a touch point with people about our message and our platform. How do we bring that throughout the year as well? And then we had this idea for the Refugee Supper Club. And so, lo and behold, we went back to Natalia and said, yeah, do you think you would do the first one with us? Mm-hmm. And we said, we're thinking maybe, 10 people. Suddenly it was 20 people. Suddenly it was 30 people. And so the first supper club we ever did was 30 people. And it was, I would say, very organized and a little chaotic at times too. But that was, really what's built this foundation of we're trying something new. We're doing it because we all have this shared vision that food can connect people, and we can build from here. And what we've built so far has been really inspirational. And just getting to know Natalia, too, has been such a pleasure because we've gotten to know her story more, and we're so excited to share that with you today, too.
Yeah, I remember that first time that we met Natalia at the supper club, and David graciously hosted, and it became, 10, 20, 30 people. And Natalia never seemed, at least on the outside, worried or concerned or, all these people are coming over. And you had, this calmness, and then you had this, just get things done kind of mentality. And then you were working with some pretty outstanding chefs, Dima and Alexis, and yourself as well. And I was so impressed by how professionally it was done, because usually I show up to, a gathering at someone's home or a supper club type event, and I default to going to help in the kitchen because I'm also a chef, and it's a way to kind of hide a little bit from socializing, but also it's like what makes me naturally feel comfortable. They had everything ready, done. Right? And they said, oh, try this, try that. Just like today with the pierogi, I remember you said, ooh, have you ever had a tiny pine cone? And before I could even try it, my husband Mark was like, ooh, a tiny pine cone, and he stuck it in his mouth. And so it was like those moments of trying new ingredients, of trying your way of making duck that night, that I thought was just, so familiar, and at the same time, exciting to try something new and from a different perspective. So I was, I think we all were immediately kind of like gravitated towards Natalia, and also because you were able to help translate to the other chefs with us. That was a huge help. And so I think it just made us, kind of extra curious to get to know Natalia even better over these last few years. And so I want to, kind of dig into your story, Natalia. So if you can tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up, and maybe you have some core memories of, cooking together with family. Like why food? Why cooking?
Yeah, sure. I was growing in east of Ukraine in beautiful city Donetsk. with my family. My mother and father, they are just regular people, and when I had a 6 years old, my mother delivered my youngest brother, and to my responsibilities was add a few things. I need to help my mother, and I start to cook with her and cleaning house and the other things. Of course, particularly take care about my brother. And I so like to cook with my mom, and I was so excited. She gives me opportunity to touch something, to do something. This is so exciting to touch the dough, to play with this. And I did a lot of different things, and I so soon that time was able to cook something difficult, something challenging. And when we're speaking about the super club with 30 people, it's absolutely okay for me. As much people I can feed is better for me, because I think I give them love, and I try to connect people by food as well.
But Natalia, I have cooked with all kinds of folks, and I've cooked with folks who cook dinner at home, and I can tell when someone cooks dinner at home and cooks for many people. You're able to do that, but you're also so organized and very professional. When I watch you cook, it's like watching a professional chef cook. And then when I taste your food, it's like tasting a grandmother's,
Wow.
type of cooking. And so I'm just like constantly impressed by that. And I think that, that there are a few other stories that you might have that maybe you'll share with us about, how did you get so good? You got like professionally good, but did you go to school for this? Did you train in?
No, I never go to culinary school or something similar. I get a hairdresser school, like vocational school, because I wasn't able to enroll myself to medical university. It was so expensive. And I start from hairdressing. I learn a lot, and I get the whole certification that I can get, of course, because I'm so, responsible person. And if I start to do something, I try to do this as better, the best. With cooking, the same, and I started to watching many different culinary show and start to learn from there how to cook the onion, how to do some things. Gordon Ramsay is one of my famous and lovely person. I know he always screaming, but he's.
But you learned good knife skills
Yes,
from Gordon Ramsay on
absolutely,
TV. Yeah.
And when I see Dima example, he cutting the onion, I just look at this and wow, how you do that without the cutting your fingers, and this is so amazing.
I think what's amazing too is you've seen these people, and then you all of a sudden it feels like you can take on that skill, and then you're very inclusive in when we've done supper clubs or when you're cooking with us, in teaching us and showing us ways in which you actually can transfer those skills onto us. And I know we have some dough that you had brought over that if you're in the audience, feel free to pop on over, and you can kind of feel that tactfulness and play around with it a little bit. But we've also experienced that too, and whenever we're in the kitchen with you, it feels like you're passing along what you've learned and then giving it to us in a Natalia way as well.
I think that's
so
a
apparent.
wonderful thing about the supper clubs is that not only do you get to taste someone else's cooking and watch them cook, but you can participate. And
Right,
so that's why
right.
Johnny's idea today was not only did Natalia bring the pierogi for us to eat, but there's the dough to also play with so that you can get kind of hands-on and, awaken that inner child inside and play with a little bit of dough. So again, Natalia, I think just it's not every day that you meet people who are suddenly overnight kind of, right, expert at doing something. I just think that you have this really special talent where that you can see something on TV and then become very good at it because you practice. And you went to hairdressing school, but you didn't really like it. Right? It wasn't your passion.
From the beginning, of course, I don't like it because I had to touch the people, cut their hair. I was so scary because I thought I can make some trauma to people. This is you have a scissors in your hand.
Like cut their ear off or something.
yeah. But I had a good teachers, and as I learned, I became more confident and more improve my skills and do this better and better.
And then you won awards.
Yes, a few.
Not just any award.
Yeah.
What was it called?
In
Golden
one
scissor?
Golden
in one
scissor?
time, I get a gold scissors in Ukraine.
Yeah.
I
You're
just
an
think we need to
award
reiterate
winner.
that the golden scissors of Ukraine. We have an awardee for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you need to cut my hair next. I'm waiting.
And one day
If only we had more time on this segment, we would
Live haircut.
we can
pull
do
up a chair.
some master class. Of course.
And so, in terms of how you continue to develop cooking, right? So you back in Ukraine, you got the hairdresser, kind of education, and then you were cooking because your mom wanted you to take care of your brother, and you're cooking with family. And then, how did cooking evolve from there?
I learned a lot from my mother because we weren't like a rich family, and in that time when I grew up, it was so difficult time for the whole country, and we didn't have access for some expensive food or different kind of food. And my mother, she has the skills from like she's able to make from nothing something absolutely perfect, something so good to taste and something eatable. At least, and I learned from her a lot, and I just like improve my skills per whole my life. And this is, I really like when I cook because this is my meditation. When I cooked, I can forget and I could just like switch my attention for the cooking and become a more calmer and peaceful.
And eventually, you met your first boyfriend, I guess, then husband, right?
He wasn't my first boyfriend, but he's my husband now.
And tell us about that story.
Oh, this is so funny story. We met each other in nightclub at 5:30, I guess so.
At 30 a.m. at a nightclub.
Yes, I am. Yeah, of course. This is.
I
the
thought
ti-
it was
the-
high school originally, but it was 5:30 a.m. nightclub.
Okay, how you think like we doing in high school at 5:30 a.m. Like, what we have to do there? Yeah, we met in at nightclub, and in this time, 5:30 a.m., he just invited me to date, and I said, "Oh, sorry, I need to go to work." And it was true. Yeah, I really need to go to work in that time. And after that, we started to dating, and from the first date, I so clearly remember this time. He's sitting in front of me. He told me telling some story, and I sitting like that and think, "Oh my gosh, I love you." And we are together almost 20 years. This year's will, in this August we will have 20 years together.
Amazing.
Yay.
Thank you.
And love at first sight. You fell in love on the first
Absolutely,
date.
absolutely.
Love it. First dance, perhaps?
Well, you went to a nice restaurant, right?
Yeah. He took me to the restaurant. It was so famous restaurant in Donetsk. It calls Rubliovka, and after that, this was so good. That there was so good dishes, and I did try to make them at my home. And after this, we make some small tradition. We cook together with my husband every weekend. During the weekend we try to buy some special products, some special ingredients, and cook together at every Friday or Saturday. It was so funny, and we are trying to, each time we make something different to try different cuisine on different dishes, different kind of food. It was so interesting, and now we keep doing.
Yeah. But you don't just like cook for each other. Like you cook for each other, and then you also invite friends over.
Yeah, sometimes we invite the friends. At home it was more often because we have a lot of friends who were around us. This is always not like 2 or 3 friends. It's always a group of 30 people because that's why I'm not afraid about to feed a lot of
30 people is normal for you. at
Yeah,
your house.
absolutely. It's normal.
Yeah.
Normal weekend.
I grew up like that too. It was hard for me to cook for 2 to 4 to 6 people, but if I had to cook for 15 to 25 people, it was more.
It's all the time. When I try to buy some cooking stuff, it's always something bigger. The biggest things in the shop.
And then you guys were also critical,
Yeah.
right? Like you gave each other very good feedback about the cooking too.
Yes, but no one never said like I cook bad.
Yeah, they always say you cook very well. All right.
Yeah.
And so your husband was asked to later go work in Poland. Is that right?
Yeah, because there's some circumstances in my country. War in Donetsk started in 2014, and he had to go to abroad because we tried to save his life. And he went to the Poland. After that, I followed him, and after 2 years, I go to Poland as well. And in Poland, I met a lot of different things, and was like so interesting because it was similar like in my country and absolutely different in the same time.
And was it difficult to kind of adapt to living in Poland, having lived in Ukraine your whole life?
Of course, it was a little difficult and challenging to adapt because this is new country. I never know about the Poland language before, and I had to start to learn it. Of course, I studied, and when you come to the other country, nobody waiting for you, and you need to build yourself from the zero again and again. And it was a little difficult to find a good job, and you always starting from the unskilled job to get in something.
And so in Poland, you were suddenly found yourself working in construction.
Yeah. This is what we are used to do in Donetsk, in Ukraine. We had a construction company, but we were like owners. In Poland, we had to work ourselves. But it was so interesting, and in some time I just get a trauma on my arm, and I try to looking for some more easiest work, and I find work at kitchen in sushi restaurant. It was Ukrainian chef, by the way. His name was Dima.
There are many Dimas in your life,
Yeah.
as we've heard of.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what do we have so far? We have hairdressing, construction, sushi. I know that there's a yacht certification somewhere in there as well for managing a yacht.
Yeah, during living in Poland, it's some things what make me happy, and I try to get and learn everything what I can find interesting in my life, and I get a yacht certification. Yeah, I can sail in.
That was so apparent up front when we met Natalia too, was just when you say something like, well, you just have to build from zero and then build from zero again. Like it can just tell that in all of your stories, and really feel that when we met you as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and when we came to United States, the same. We're supposed to start from the zero because again, this is new country, and again, language absolutely not familiar for us.
So before you came to the U.S., did you speak English?
No, never. I teach. I learned German at school, but I completely forgot everything, and I never.
It doesn't sound much like English anyway.
No, I still try to learn English, but I keep doing. Yeah, I need more practice.
So just when you started getting comfortable in Poland and you had learned Polish and you were speaking with a Polish accent, people thought you were Polish. Your accent was so good.
Yeah, because when they heard the accent, they always have some pretension for me and asking, "Do you remember that historical happens?" No, people, I don't know. I was born so late about this. I don't know about nothing. But they have some specific relationship with immigrants, and in one time I just decided to fix the accent at all, and I start to speak Poland fluently without the accent. And after that, I was able to find a good job.
Yeah. And then suddenly your husband was coming here, and so you were moving to the U.S.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about that experience first coming over, and eventually you met RIAC, the refugee organization.
Yes, I find this refugee and immigrant assistance center by USCIS website because they are there. When we came, the same. We started from zero. We didn't know nothing absolutely, and I started looking for the organization who works with refugee and Ukrainians because nobody works, or was so young and fresh program. Nobody knows what to do. I looking for some help with the documents, and I went to RIAC. I met a beautiful woman, Ayan Warfa. I don't know how she understood me in some way. But she wasn't able to help me with the documentation. I came to my home, I come back, I cried for a whole day, and I understood, okay, I'm again in new country alone with myself, and I just have to figure it out with this. And I did it. I applied for documents. I get my documents after 1 month, and I come back to RIAC and say, okay, I don't have any English. I need to find a job. Please help me. And Ayan says, okay, you can stay, be a volunteer here, and you will hear the English, and maybe you can learn something. I was staying there and start to build the Ukrainian community because I recognize they have a lot of Ukrainian clients, but they don't know how to work with them. I figured out with programs and start to work with this so hard. And after 1 year, I get a program coordinator position, and I manage 5 programs in RIAC.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So you were the first person to really establish a Ukrainian kind of anchor in RIAC to be able to help the other refugees coming over.
I think yes. Yeah.
And so we have some of these resources here that you have created since then.
Yes, after working in RIAC, I met a lot of different talented people, and I met my partner, Oksana. We opened our profit organization, DD Advisors, and we together create this roadmap for immigrants because they often don't know what to do, how to get social security for their newborn children, how to get mass health insurance, and so many different things, how to save some money for future their children. And we made this booklet, a small book. This is really helpful because after reading it, you can know step by step what you need to do.
Yeah, so you were meeting with over 50 refugees, and you're in addition creating these kinds of resources that people can then take home, that people can go, file for their papers.
I working with almost 500 refugees, like 500 Ukrainian, around this. Yeah. And this not only for Ukrainians, this is so helpful for everyone.
And in addition to resources like that, you created this with Dima.
Yeah, this is for Dima's recipes, and this is his creation. Inside our pictures, his food and recipes. We made it through Bloombridge because with Oksana, we opened non-profit organization to help the talented people. And we made this for Dima because he's really talented, and I believe he will get some good for this.
Yeah, this is a recipe booklet. This is a cookbook.
Yeah, a small one, but
yeah,
this is
but
our first.
It's beautiful. So the organizations, tell us again. There's Bloombridge. There's D&D Advisors.
Yeah.
That you started, one nonprofit, one for-profit.
Yes.
To help not just Ukrainian refugees, but all refugees.
Of course, we are open to help everyone, and I met in RIAC that they don't get enough information. It's always missing something, and still during their life they need some support because they pass 65 and they need to apply for social security income or supplemental security income. They need to apply for Medicare, and they still need this support. Also, many talented people who really need help, who really need some direction because they come here and they don't know where to start. They don't have enough language skills. They don't know how to enroll to university or the other things. They don't know how to show their talent and how cool they are. And we are support them. We do some exhibition for Ukrainians, and not only for Ukrainians. The last one was in February 27. We did it, but it happened that only Ukrainians was in exhibits. But we are going to do the next one with different kind of countries. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think it's so important too to just recognize and acknowledge that you have this entrepreneurial spirit and you figure things out for yourself. And then you're always thinking about, well, then how can I teach someone else? Or how can I share this with someone else? And it's apparent in the stories that you have. And then also, you know, when you join us, you're always bringing on other collaborators too. I think that's something really, really special.
It's always interesting because people they are always asking. We always open to answer for their questions, and I love they follow our like advices because they come, they ask, and they go. Already, at least 13 people they were enrolled last year to Must Bay Community College, and I'm proud of them. They started their education.
And that's because you did that first and you learned the process.
Of course,
Because you're in school right now, right?
Yeah.
And so right now you're at Mass Bay Community College, right? And what are you studying there?
I studied general business. I don't remember why, because it has a lot of credits, and it maybe will be good for me in the future. Yes, and I thought I can learn more about the business in United States. Yes, I did, and this is I believe so my almost past semester. I'm going to be graduated in December this year.
Amazing.
Wow.
And then you're also still getting all kinds of certifications and taking other classes as well. So the construction, that wasn't just a phase of your life in Poland that you're no longer doing. You're still doing construction now. And you got your license for that as well.
Yeah.
And then you also have a notary
Yes.
license. Okay. Like, what will we collect next? What kind of license will be
I
next?
think motorcycle license too, right?
You already
Yes.
have the motorcycle license. I
That's
think
already
we
taken
have
care
photos.
of. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Underneath the helmet is
It's me
Natalia
inside,
there. And are you still cutting hair
Yes, for my close friends. Yeah.
for your close friends?
yeah.
Okay. And maybe Jonny will be that close friend. That
I'm already signed up. There's a wait list.
Okay, no problem. I will put you.
With the golden scissors.
Yeah, I got certification for health being from Mass Health to help people with the trauma because we have a lot of people from Haiti, Afghanistan, Uganda who are really traumatic and they need some specific specific relationship with them. And I got that certification. This is really helpful for me and for them. Yeah. Also, we do some tax for refugees as well.
Taxes? I get confused with my own taxes. I have to sign you up as well.
It wasn't easy to figure it out, but
Yeah.
And so, how many years now have you been in the U.S.?
since November 2022,
2022.
almost 4 years.
You've
But
done
I
a
feel
lot in 4 years. Some
Yeah.
kids, they just, go to college here for 4 years and then they leave and they do something else. But you've been here 4 years, and I think you've accomplished a lot more than these college kids do.
I feel like already 12 years gone. Honestly, yeah, I do a lot.
And so, does the U.S. now feel a little bit more like home? Do you feel like you might have to leave and go somewhere else, or interest in going somewhere else, or how do you feel?
I would love to say I want to come back to home, but unfortunately I cannot to say like that because my home was destroyed and almost all my city is now in occupation and I don't have home anymore, unfortunately. I was traveling in many different countries before to came to United States, and here I literally, honestly, I feel here safe, and I feel myself in that place when I need to be. I feel safe, comfortable, and I even cannot imagine if I need to move out again, move somewhere again. No, I'd like to stay here.
Yeah. And what is your vision for staying here and having, home and community here? I mean, you've built that already, but I'm sure, you've told me that you want to open a bakery, and what other dreams do you
I'm
have?
going to help to Dima open a bakery. Yeah, of course, this is the big plan. I don't know. I dream, of course, like every girl, I dream about my own home with a big kitchen, with a big island on the kitchen to making morning coffee with some bakery, some croissant that it has a beautiful home smell, and to see some squirrels outside and just just be happy. I don't know, just be alive, just have a happy, beautiful life.
Oh.
And
How-
of course, keep doing like the construction and the other things.
I think we have a question from an audience member here.
Hello, all. My name is Betty. I am a self-taught artist with a passion for exploring different cultures through my work. My question is, what does pierogi taste like, and how long does it take to make them? I have been intrigued by this traditional Russian pastry, which is known for its delicious fillings and flaky crust. I imagine the warm, savory flavors of the filling, whether it's meat, vegetables, or sweet fruits, combining beautifully with the tender dough. I would love to know more about the preparation process and any tips for achieving the perfect texture and flavor. It's exciting to discover new culinary experiences.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for your question.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is, of course, I don't know how to start it because this is the whole process. And this is so interesting because you need to warm some milk, add some flour and yeast, have it sit a bit, like around 15 minutes, waiting a little bit to rise it a lot, and after that to add their egg, butter, and sour cream, mix it, add some flour, and mix it as well, like rolling this dough so well, and have it sit for an hour. After that, you need to divide it for some pieces. Put inside these pieces cherries on whatever berry you want. Put it together and leave it on the big plate to stay again. And after that, you can bake it 25-30 minutes in oven. And this is some time. This is long time, and this is so carefully because you need to have special room temperature to having this done and to have all this process finished well. And after that, you will have this beautiful smelling pierogi.
I can just picture you making those in your house, in that big island, the big kitchen, inviting people over. I feel like we maybe need to host a supper club at that house.
With my pleasure. This is my dream.
Amazing.
Of course.
Well, thank you so much for sharing those stories, Natalia. Our refugee supper clubs, Jonny, maybe you want to talk a little bit about how those are currently functioning, and also your relationship, your family relationship to the war in Ukraine as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been so inspirational to see all the different ways in which we've done supper clubs. We've had so many different models that we've done over the course of this past year, but they're all rooted in a reason, right? And that reason, at least thinking about our connection to Ukraine, is my family just working with a lot of Ukrainian refugees as the big war has started since 2022, to really make sure that they feel at home. And after seeing an example of that with my mom and with a close family friend, and how they were kind of finding their niche in terms of trying to find support, both with in-kind furniture donations and in networking to see if somebody could host a family for 2 weeks and then move them to another house and host at a different family for 2 weeks. I was kind of inspired to figure out where I could fit in. And Tracy and I have worked together for almost 6 years now. Sometimes in a part-time capacity, sometimes in volunteer capacity, but always around food and community building. And I think for me, this is, when David came to me around the festival and the opportunity for the supper clubs, it was that niche. So feeling the inspiration from my mom and from our family friend, and figuring out, how we can kind of work together within the Ukrainian community and then thereafter. And so once we started, it just kind of felt like that snowball effect where there was energy for this. And there's desire, I think, just largely on a societal scale, on new experiences that bring people together. We've talked about, since the COVID-19 pandemic, isolationism, the loneliness pandemic. And when we started these supper clubs, it was so clear that when we bring people into other folks' homes in Cambridge, the greater Boston area, which is a central part of the model, that they really feel like they can take a breath. And that they're with people who are like-minded or with people who are going to share stories or share with them in this new experience. And oftentimes we see people leaving, exchanging numbers, or with new friendships.
Yeah.
And one of the most special parts is that every supper club looks a little bit different. And so we've done supper clubs in, I think, someone's home who has a glass blowing studio.
Glass studio. So there's glass everywhere from these beautiful artisans, and they walked all the guests through their studio to show it. We've done one in Johnny's living room where we did an Afghan supper club where Johnny doesn't have a traditional dining room table, but we decided it was an Afghan supper club, so we pushed all the couches and all the furniture aside, laid down rugs, and everyone who came to the supper club sat and ate traditionally sitting down around the floor.
That one took a lot of encouragement to get my roommates sleeping pillows to be able to situate them on the floor as well. But that's the best part about these.
Well, and some of the people that you've mentioned too, right? Like some of these are folks that we know from having Pagu over the past 9 years, or people that you've known since childhood, or, friends bring friends. But the kind of connections that have happened at these supper clubs are pretty awesome. Like, David, you were telling me about Marina meeting.
Yeah, I have a friend who they hosted one, and there was a complete stranger had come that we had met at another community event, and we had mentioned it to them. They came, and Marina and that person hit it off, and it turned out that they worked in the same field and have now stayed in touch in the last 5 months since that supper club, and is becoming some type of mentor too. And so it's really special that you walk in and it's 10, 12 strangers sitting around a table, and yet you walk out and you realize that the degrees of separation are not many, and these are friendships that can continue.
And people are coming kind of from different backgrounds, different towns, cities nearby, but also they might be like 30 years apart in age, but then be in the same field.
Of course. Yeah, but what holds a lot of them together is they're just excited to taste a new cuisine and learn about a new culture. And I think that that's what we're struck by, is there's an energy for all the people coming that they are so excited to learn. And a big component of all of our supper clubs is that we have a demonstration. And similar to what we were showing with the dough, is that we have, even in all these kitchens, people are folding sambusas or making mendoka, or there's all these different foods to try, so that those people can take that culture and cuisine back to their own families, back to their own communities, and continue to share what they've learned.
Yeah, and that hasn't only brought about connection amongst the people who are at the supper club. Word has kind of gotten out a little bit, which has been really cool. And so we have had this network effect where then other opportunities are arising, not only for the supper club, but specifically for the chefs as well. So we did recently a catering at MGH for 30 people. Natalia was our go-to for that one, Natalia and Dima. They made this amazing Ukrainian feast. And it was, oh my God, I can't even. And every single time, too, that Natalia comes, she always brings maybe 3 or 4 dishes extra. And that's a common thread between a lot of our supper clubs, is that we're like, all right, here's the budget, here's what we're doing. And we kind of have this menu planned out. And they're like, but we felt like we really needed, the community or the people to try these 3 other things. And, those opportunities are starting to show themselves as well. It's not just the MGH catering. We've done private in-house caterings. I think people really have this appetite for what we're doing, and this appetite to learn, get hands-on, and be able to experience cultural food that you really can't get anywhere else. And even if you can get it, it's not in the same setting. It's super unique, it's intimate, and it really lays that groundwork for building that connection across culture.
Yeah, people have asked us, usually coming to Pagu, trying to book a catering or a wedding or some kind of, off-site gala, but now we have folks that say, oh, well, we want cultural representation from these other, these other groups and these other countries, these other cuisines. Could you help us find that? And so it's kind of cool to be known for that, and not always have to say, hey, we're gonna provide you with food that Pagu makes. But it's great to say, hey, well, I know Natalia, and she can make this for your event, and I know Fatima, and she can make, sambus, and it's really nice to tap our friends to be able to, really make an even tastier party, really.
I couldn't agree more. And then we just get to spend more time together.
Yeah.
And hear more of these stories.
And Natalia, in terms of, like you're kind of our OG, refugee chef that we've kind of gone back to many times to ask for participation in some of these events and collaborate. The Refugee Food Festival, the Supper Club, like what has all of this meant for you?
For me, this is opportunity to join new people, to meet new people, to bring through food people together, to give them opportunity to try something new for them, because it's always the first rule when that I learned from RIAG here. When we settle refugee in RIAG, we give them first their homemade food. When they come, we need to feed them like their home country, home food. And this is make me feel like okay. And when they have their food, they feel they self at home. They feel they safe. And this is give me understanding like okay, I wanna be join this really. And all the time when you invite me or I find it something for myself, I always do something. This is so interesting because it's absolutely not matter what people came from, but you can bring them together and speak with them through food and just share this part of your soul with everyone.
Incredible.
For me, this is
We need
finding
that line
many
for our marketing.
But these are real stories, right? I mean, these are real relationships, real stories, and the people that you meet are as authentic as the cuisine that they're making. And I think that's something super special. Like as someone who owns a restaurant, operates a restaurant, and is sometimes hungry because I forget to eat in my restaurant. I know that's like a weird problem to have. But at the end of the day, driving home, I'm kind of like, oh, I wish I could go eat something that's made with love, that is, from this kind of culture, because you can't find that in a restaurant setting. And so that I hope the work that we continue together can change that. Because if someone wants to go out and find Ukrainian food in a restaurant right now, can they find it?
No.
Kind of hard,
I don't
right?
think so.
If they want to go find Afghani food, Somali food, they want to find Moroccan food, it's kind of hard to do that. And I think that's, part of the narrative that we're trying to change and to make these kinds of foods more available to people, because the curiosity is there, the demand is there. So I do want to shout out again to our audience and to folks watching on the recording. What are the different ways that we can get in touch with Natalia? What are the different ways that we can stay in touch with Jonny and David? So you guys, tell us about your organizations one more time.
I have a profit organization, DD Advisors. We help people with many different things for profit, with their social documents, taxes, and many different things. You always can call us or send us email. Through email, you can go our website and find your information. Also, we have a website for Bloombridge, of course, and you can contact us if you need help. We always open to help, and if you want to help to us, you are always welcome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And Jonny and David?
Yeah, so up next, we have the Refugee Food Festival. And so that's going to be featuring 8 different chefs. We have chefs from Ukraine, Somalia, Venezuela, Haiti, Morocco, Cuba, and more. And that's on June 20th on World Refugee Day from 12 to 3 right outside Pagu Restaurant in Cambridge in Central Square. So you can find tickets for that through our website, which is refugeesupperclub.org. And then after that, we'll have more supper clubs coming up every month.
The festival too, it's so much fun.
Tell me about the programming that you guys have lined up for the festival this year.
Yeah, so as David mentioned, we have 8 different chefs, and you can just imagine it kind of farmer's market style, but really engaging. It's like a big block party. You can bop around, get different bites from all the different chefs, but then we also have a DJ who's coming, who's the head of the Boston City Arts Council, DJ Kensworth. We have one of our chefs who's also a casino instructor. Casino is a Cuban-style dance, so you can learn a little bit around how to move those hips after you have a couple bites. And we also have a singer from Madagascar who kind of interweaves Madagascar, different styles and beats with some American R&B as well. And so amongst that, we're also partnering with the Boston Legacy FC, the new women's soccer team, because really food, soccer, and song and art really all intersect. And so you can already tell the energy that I have just talking about it. It's super fun. It's the best day ever. And we would really look forward to having you all there.
Yeah, and with that, there's also one thing that we really want this to be kind of celebrating all these different cultures we have, but we also want to celebrate all the work that other organizations in the Boston area are doing for refugees and migrants in the area. And so a lot of our partners are also organizations in the Boston, Cambridge area that are working with refugees, either as advocates or legal services or resettlement organizations. And so when you come to the festival, you have a chance to talk and engage with all these different partner organizations that are doing incredible work every day for refugees and immigrants in the country, but also very much locally in Boston, Cambridge area.
Awesome. So people can come, they can eat great food, they can bring their kids, play a ton of games, dance, and if people want to volunteer or get involved or look for specific resources or learn something from Natalia because she has so much to teach beyond just piroshki, then they can find all of these people in one place at this block party.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having
David
us.
Lander, Jonny Zackman, Natalia, Durnieva, thank you guys so much. We're going to stick around after the show if people have any questions and want to come up and meet these fine folks. We'll be here if you want to learn any other kind of secret tricks to the piroshki or have questions about some of the organizations that we spoke about. I just want to take this chance to thank everyone here again, as well as our producers and everyone kind of in the back office here. Sandra, Lopez, Burke, Lauren, Herbert, Juan, Jose, Cadena, Dueñas, Maddie, Geier, Steve, Baracsi, not Buscemi, maybe Buscemi. So this has been another episode of GBH Amplifies. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again here in June. It'll be the last Thursday in June that I am here on June 25th. So thank you again and have a great day, everyone. Cheers.